What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. I am Sean Ross Sapp. It's September 15th, 2025. It's your WWE Raw post-show review here at Fightful. It's going to be a big week. We got WrestlePalooza this weekend. We got All Out this weekend. The current plan, watch All Out, watch WrestlePalooza, go live for a mega review afterwards, and then we'll split it up, put it into individual videos, something like that for you. But my God, we are so happy to be here. I am so happy to be here. Leave a thumbs up on this video, subscribe, drop a fruit emoji. Let me know that you're here at this earlier time of like 9:40. I'm excited about that for football season, and that's about the only thing about football season I'm excited about anymore. You can head over to Common Bingles W and hear all about that. Maybe I'll shed some tears. I don't know. But if you're here, get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. It would mean an awful lot to me. FightfulSelect.com, in addition to a big news update with like stuff on Natty, Eddie Kingston, Cody Rhodes, MLW, we also had a Scoops thread. Occasionally, we'll still post those here and there. We're going to have more information like writers, producers, a lot of stuff like that from the show on FightfulSelect.com on Tuesday. Please support original work. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Dropped an hour-long Q&A today. But if you want to get your question in here, get those super chats in. But without further ado, let's talk WWE Monday Night Raw as John Cena comes out and shares his history, shares his what the city means to him, specifically where he went to college at. And, you can tell that this meant something to him. It was important to him. It was something that resonated with him. You got the Alicia Taylor intro, which I don't think she gets enough credit, honestly. I think that she does a really, really good job. I think she does really well. And I just think that she is an unsung hero, though. But like this John Cena promo, you might be surprised to learn like how scripted it was. Now, the offensive line stuff, him going to Springfield College, all that, that wasn't scripted. That was him from the heart. But the rest of it, like I saw the script verbatim. It was scripted verbatim. It was him highlighting Brock Lesnar and saying that he wouldn't back down from Brock Lesnar. Says that he can't say no to Brock Lesnar. Right now, MyBookie AG has him as the betting favorite, and I think he should beat Brock Lesnar at this point. What does Brock gain from beating him at all? Dart says, I heard the crowd is starting to turn on Lesnar's return, but I'm sure Triple H will probably gaslight the media and say that's just heel heat. Yeah, probably. I mean, listen, he does still get reactions contrary to what I think of it and what I feel about it. But John Cena, his promo is pretty straightforward. It's like, I am scared. He is a scary guy. He's an intimidating guy, but that doesn't mean I'm going to back down. And if he wins, it'll be his 100th PLE win. Pretty impressive. But like there's not a ton of depth to this. It was long. It took a while. They had a lot of intro stuff, all that, but there wasn't a ton to this promo. It was literally him just promoting the match. And that was really the extent of it. That nothing groundbreaking here. Nothing to write home about. Just John Cena doing the damn thing and saying, hey, you should probably watch me fight Brock Lesnar this weekend. Wish I had more to say about it. It's just straightforward. Pretty simple. Vowed to beat him at WrestlePalooza. Leonardo brings up a good point. Says in a straight one-on-one match and under normal rules, Cena has never pinned or submitted Brock, including even house shows. That is shocking. That is shocking. I am honestly really surprised to hear that after all this time. But that's neither here nor there. We had Lyra Valkyria defeating Roxanne Perez. Let me tell you, There was a disgusting spot in this match where Lyra is up on the top rope and she gets yanked down and kind of missed the corner. So you take it off the turnbuckles and then you jump off the turnbuckles and you land like back neck first across them. And it creates a layered drop situation. And she just kind of missed and ended up smacking real hard. This was nasty. Raquel ended up getting ejected during this. It was a very scary spot, to be honest with you. But the crossface into the Nightwing led to this. And it was more about what happened after this match that that caused some stir, so to speak. By the way, Lyra is replacing Tiffany Stratton tomorrow, who is not cleared to compete at NXT Homecoming. But you end up getting Judgment Day going after Lyra Valkyria, and we get the return of Bayley. And Bayley going full on like split personality here. Now, she's even been playing this up on social media. Like there was a fan this weekend that she replied to him and was like, "Oh, thank you." And then later on, she called him, I think, a stupid idiot. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, I'm fascinated by this Bayley character and how it's going to go. And with a person who has done a little bit of everything, where do you go next? Okay, let's do some cool character stuff. And she's done a lot of great character stuff. She did the hugger. She did the heel run. She's done the role model. She needs new music. New music forever. But I'm interested to see where this goes because she went off and then she hugged everybody ringside. Like Joe Tessitore was shocked. Corey Graves was shocked. Now she hugs Michael Cole. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. She told me that Michael Cole should be the lowest rated person in 2K. And if not him, then Nia Jax. But that's when I don't buy it. That's when I can't suspend my disbelief, is her hugging Michael Cole. Bayley looked jacked, by the way. She looked incredible. It was so funny because it wasn't funny, but Nikki Bella had mentioned how Bayley was just off the road for a couple weeks, and she was like, "Man, it's so weird to not have Bayley there." And I am very excited with the direction of this. The WWE Raw Women's Division has had, its hiccups between, Naomi, maternity leave, Liv Morgan, injury, all that. But, and Stephanie, missing a couple weeks ago. But like, I think they do a really good job of layering the division and then developing people to be there for the next program. I think the women's division, they've done pretty good stuff with that on Raw, not on SmackDown. SmackDown, it's bad. It's rough. It's a barren wasteland. They really need to switch some people. Joshua D says this, MF spitting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm about to be sweating. Let me turn on my damn air in this room, guys. I'm about to smother. I left the left the remote contraption over there. I thought that Lyra sold really well in this match. By the way, she is an underrated seller in this company and does just such a good job. She also, sells verbally well, like afterwards and the after effects of the match and all that. She's very good at that. She's very sympathetic, even though you view her as a physical force. And that's not always easy to do. And I think that she's doing really good at it. Bayley, I remain fascinated with. And I want to see where that goes because it seems like AJ will probably head towards the Intercontinental title picture, right? And the way I see it, I think that Becky I think AJ gets the pin on Sunday or Saturday and then probably loses a one-on-one singles match after that, and you've got that way to kind of play around with it, and you can kind of keep her out of the title picture a little bit as she, hopefully works any potential rust off. Because like I've been mentioning that problem in AEW, how they're like, hey, Rio, come back after a year and then work these big matches. And there's clearly rust. And there was with Britt last year. And I'm like, man, we're talking about like after 10 years now, which I also know that Becky probably takes, well, we'll get to that. She probably takes pride in it though. But as far as Bayley goes, I'm really, really fascinated with what this means for her. Is it a way to keep her out of the title picture? You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times they'll take the strong characters and keep them out of there. Yeah. Get your super chats in. Get your humper chats in if you want to get your question or statement read on the air. Here's a fun one this week, guys. Denise Salcedo joins Fightful on Wednesday. Reunited for our first, one of our first like regular shows on Fightful. I've done a bunch on her channel. She also did the awards, which I hope she'll continue to do. But filling in on the hump this week, we're going to make full-on predictions for All Out, for WrestlePalooza. But our good friends at MyBookie AG, right now, you can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie AG. Get a $100 bonus when you deposit $200. Or if you just want to settle for a $100 deposit, you get a $50 bonus at MyBookie AG. And they got some odds for this weekend's WrestlePalooza. Cody Rhodes, Stephanie Becker, John Cena, CM Punk, AJ Lee, all favorites right now, with the closest line being Stephanie as champion. A little bit surprised by that. The other lines, huge. Cody Rhodes, huge line, huge favorite. Punk and AJ Lee, monster favorites. John Cena, a healthy favorite over Brock Lesnar. If you think they're going to put Brock over, head over to MyBookie AG. Put some money on it. I'll tell you what, that Vikings-Bengals game is going to be something. Battle of backup quarterbacks. Jake Browning, Carson Wentz. Head over to MyBookie. We only want you to bet what you can, and please bet responsibly, but score a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers only. You can bet with Bitcoin. They got slot games, casino games, table games over at MyBookie. Tom Townsend brings up a story that we broke on Fightful Select. Thanks to Mark of Wrestle Mobs for helping that out. Says, Sean, off topic. Is Andrade going to become a modern Jeff Jarrett, bouncing back and forth all the time? Thanks for the great work as always. So let's discuss this. Andrade had not been seen on WWE TV since SummerSlam. I thought he was going to end up working Clash in Paris. That didn't happen. And I asked somebody, hey, why was this match set up instead of Andrade in Phoenix? It seemed like the direction. And the source of which I asked said, if it was a possibility, we would have. I was like, interesting. A couple more weeks go by and not a lot. And I started asking people, hey, have you seen Andrade lately? And they're like, no, he hasn't been backstage at SmackDown. Okay, maybe he's hurt, right? That's my natural line of suspicion. So then I asked somebody that has a connection to see the internal roster. And they said, man, he's not on the injury report, not on the injured list. Okay. Interesting. Then Mark, Wrestle Mobs, hits me up this weekend. He goes, hey, man, have you heard anything about Andrade like being done with WWE? And I said, no, but I've been poking around an awful lot about it. And then he shows me that Andrade is on the alumni page of WWE.com. So I reach out, I get it confirmed within WWE. He's gone and he's been released. John Alba of Sports Illustrated later reported that it was a WWE call, not an Andrade call, and that it was a disciplinary move, and that Andrade likely or may have failed a wellness, or I shouldn't say this, had a wellness violation and was escorted away from SmackDown recently. Now, the reason I say had a wellness violation and not failed a wellness test is because failure to produce a sample for a wellness test is a wellness violation. So therefore, if you just don't produce a sample, if you don't piss for the test, you're getting a violation. I think Hornswoggle's even talked about this in the past, where he couldn't produce a sample and he ended up getting a violation as a result of that. Now, first off, hope that everything's okay on that front, but he did not leave AEW on the best of terms. Tony Khan put him over heavily at the World's End post-show presser, but like, it wasn't so smooth. From what I understood, Andrade had led them to believe that he was going to re-sign with AEW in late 2023. And then not very long before his final match, he was like, yeah, so that ain't happening, and I'm going back to WWE. And Tony Khan wanted to keep things positive, but I mean, he had some issues. He had a couple of fights there as well, including from one of which I understand Andrade was having a conversation and had just told Tony, don't worry, I'm not going to fight Sammy Guevara. And he's having a conversation with somebody. And he goes, hey, hold on. And then walks over and punches Sammy and then goes back and just resumes the conversation. I was like, oh, okay. And I think Sammy was just like, what the hell happened here? What's going on? From what I understood, he was very confused. But I've heard of no issues like that with him in WWE. I don't know. Hope he lands on his feet. He's such a great performer. Such a great performer. But we broke that one on FightfulSelect.com. I do think there is a chance he goes back to AEW, though. But the first fight he gets in, got to go. Got to go. Penta defeated Kofi Kingston. New Day has a petition. Oh, my God. That springboard Mexican destroyer from Penta. Like, I don't remember a ton about this match. It didn't stick out to me too much. There was the headstand super kick. But that Mexican destroyer to finish that match was so good. It was so good. Like, when I would see the Mexican destroyer used as like a transitional move and a kick out move, I was like, oh no. People go, yeah, but it was like, it was a finisher 20 years ago. I don't care. It's still incredible. There's nothing he does that looks better than that move. So just finish matches with it, or at the very least finish some matches with it, right? That way it's forever a threat. That way you always have the looming possibility of that finishing a match there. And I think that's the way you do it. And that's especially the way you got to do it in WWE these days, because the top and the pay-per-view matches are very formulaic in that it is signature move, finisher, then you steal another person's finisher, then you steal your opponent's finisher and all that. It's a pretty solid formula that they found, and it works. Their audience eats it up. They love it. Backstage, Dominic is being interviewed as he is now AAA's top champion. And we hear a bunch of ruckus, and you can tell it's them just slamming pipes together. Backstage, you can tell that. But Penta has been attacked, and Williams says, was Penta's attack set to write off for an injury? If it was, I can't believe he worked that match, right? Like, it was in the Raw script before the show, so it wasn't something that they did there. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's probably to set up more of Rey Fenix, I think. Sorry for the dead air there. I was trying to say that in a way that wouldn't get aggregated and wouldn't, like, people say, Sean Ross Sapp says Rey Fenix. That's what I assume. I assume that it'll be Rey Fenix, possibly Rey Mysterio, possibly him coming back as well, especially since they've got 3 people there for him to battle between Grayson Waller and New Day. I would imagine that that's the direction that goes. That's the common sense direction, especially with Andrade gone. What are they waiting on with Rey Fenix? And Raw's tag team division really needs Rey Fenix over there. SmackDown's tag team division has an embarrassment of riches from an in-ring standpoint. And then what I want to see is Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee against the Lucha Brothers. Because that kind of rectifies a lot of the tag team issues there, in my opinion. In my opinion. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch confront AJ and Punk. Punk is not happy that we had to sit through both of the theme songs. And I love Becky's theme song. Love it. Things are said. I'll give you guys an interesting note that I'm going to put on Fightful Select tomorrow. Throughout this show, there are a bunch of, full-on scripts, quite frankly. Almost everything is scripted. This, at least on what I saw, had more bullet points than anything. Which certainly felt that way upon hearing some of the retorts, like Becky Lynch calling the audience the living embodiment of herpes, I believe it was. And AJ Lee being like, thanks for reading my book. I didn't read yours. Which I got to say, Becky's book is very good. I read it and listened to the audiobook. It's very good. And I don't think I've read AJ's, but I need to. But Seth Rollins has a really good line. He was like, you know what? When the going gets tough, this guy has a habit of leaving. And when that happens with you, he'll leave you too. Ooh, great reaction. Great reaction. Then Rollins and Becky have a ruse. A ruse, by God. Because Seth says, listen, after AJ slaps Seth, by the way, Seth's like, I've never hit a woman, but fortunately I have someone who will, playing off of the CM Punk intro line there. And Becky's like, you mean me? Who? And it leads to a chase down, and Punk gets knocked down, and then Becky ends up hitting the manhandle slam on AJ Lee, which is her first bump in 10 years, which she also mentioned, because they wouldn't have scripted that in a promo either. You almost never hear the term or phrase bump used, because that's sort of a behind-the-scenes phrase for falling. And it was her first one in 10 years. Wonder how she's feeling. I mean, I'm sure she has in training and all that stuff, but first live in front of an audience, you know what I mean? I'm sure the adrenaline was going. She's obviously in incredible shape and is trained in the ring and all that stuff, but Becky ends up slapping CM Punk as he makes the save as well. And they get the last laugh, the heat. They stand tall, which if wrestling math tells you anything, well, they're probably taking the L on Saturday, which, just makes sense. And KE775 says, do you think Becky AJ will branch out to a one-on-one program post-WrestlePalooza, or do you think it's one and done? I think it needs to stretch out to a one-on-one program, and that's where I think Becky gets the win. Maybe by cheating, maybe by something else. Maybe she's got somebody that helps her. Maybe something like that. Something to keep that going, something to extend it, something to stretch it out a little bit. Because I don't think that AJ will just come in and immediately win the IC title. That's not, which I'm about to say, well, that's not much of a chase. She can still chase the world title, right? Because there is a story that she never held the current iterations of the world titles. She held the Divas title. So there are certainly ways to do that. El Grande Americano defeated Dragon Lee. It's becoming like a tradition to just have Dragon Lee in a slapper of a match on Raw, and I'm digging it, man. Like, I'm just glad he's getting used a lot more. Makes me very happy. That head scissors over the ropes is just insane. Insane. It's so good. And there was a dive specifically, and I don't know if it was supposed to go like that. And you guys know the dive I'm talking about. It's a suicide dive, and then he does like this curl flip right at the very end where he just barely lands on the table. It's one of the sickest dives I've seen this year. Dragon Lee is like, listen, man, when I get this time, I'm going out there and I'm doing something that the people are going to remember. And he almost always does. He almost always does. Now, granted, the finish of his matches are usually massively forgettable at no fault of his own, but it's because they did the same finish they have done for the last 2 months, and it's where another El Grande Americano, one's Pete Dunne, don't know who the other one is, but they make the run in, and AJ makes the save, but I'm so over the same El Grande Americano thing. At least they did the Spider-Man meme, as Jay Grell says. At least they did the Spider-Man meme. That was good. That was funny. That was entertaining. I enjoyed that. But like, okay, it's Tyler Bate. But if you took an episode of Raw, 3 episodes of Raw, they would be doing the Spider-Man meme at one another because it's the same thing all the time. It's the same stuff. Do something different. That's all we want. Do something different. AJ did make the save. Also, there was a spot, a TKO, and by that I mean the old Mark Marrow, where he's got him in a fireman's carry. El Grande Americano has Dragon Lee in a fireman's carry into a cutter, and it went down at a weird angle. But I like that move for Ludwig Kaiser, El Grande Americano, to use. I think that's a really, really smooth move to do. Big fan of that. Get your super chats, get your humper chats in. I know Saudi Mania is a big topic. Talked about that at length on the Backstage Report podcast, the Fightful Report podcast on FightfulSelect.com. And I'll talk about it a little bit here. I want to make this abundantly clear. I do not have an issue with the Saudi people. I don't want a blanket statement, people. I don't believe in that. I don't think that it's fair to say, well, this is how all 35 million Saudi people feel, and they agree with these things. But anytime you criticize the idea that a WrestleMania is there at a government state-sponsored thing with government that has issues like they do, you'll get a ton of people in your replies saying, oh, you're racist. Oh, why don't you want the Saudi people to have a WrestleMania? To which I reply, I don't give a shit what fans do or don't get WrestleMania because I don't go to WrestleMania. I go do media the week of. And listen, I am not hurt about not having to travel during WrestleMania week. I'm all for that. I like being here in this office. But when the government has participated in so many of the human rights violations, like jailing activists and LGBTQ supporters, and they're just straight up critics of their policies, and not to even mention the Jamal Khashoggi thing. Yes, I do not like that WWE is actively participating in that. Don't like it. People say, well, you're still going to watch it. It's my job to watch it, fella. That's my job. Just because scandals and bad stuff happens doesn't mean that the media stops covering those things. You got to cover the good, the bad, the ugly. So how I feel in those situations, but I want to make that clear. Like, I have nothing against the Saudi people. In fact, I would hope that the Saudi people would not agree with many of the things happening with that government. And I see people saying, oh, well, WWE gets site fees from governments. And yeah, and if I heard that the Indianapolis government was doing those things, I would not be happy about WWE getting site fees and stuff from them either. Right? But what you're about to see, and just watch, guys, what you're about to see is every 50-plus-year-old talking head in wrestling about to twerk. They're about to just flip them cheeks. They are about to throw ass to get a booking on this event. You watch. They are going to be out there, hands on their knees, just making it work to get that Saudi Mania booking. They're going to, what a great idea it is. These people, they deserve it. You wait and see. I already seen a little bit of it. Listen, I've got an incredible amount of respect for Mark Henry. I love Mark Henry as a person. He has always been really good to me. I was very proud of how Denise handled that on Busted Open Radio. I thought that she did a phenomenal job handling that. And you're going to see people in wrestling media that go over there and they're like, wow, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is so beautiful. It's an honor to be here, blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. You wait and see. Mark my words. Dudley Boys probably going to lose to the Hardy Boys. All right, listen, Hardy Boys are going to be there. Hardy Boys are getting that booking no matter what. You know they're getting offered that booking. But the Dudley Boys, I believe this Bound for Glory was set to be like their last hurrah. Take off the boots, put them in the ring, all that stuff. And then over the course of the next year, there's going to be a lot of praise for Saudi Mania. Maybe one more. You know Kane's going to be there. Kane's going to be doing that DDP yoga to such an extreme degree over the next year and a half, buddy. He is going to be one flexible son of a bitch by the time April 2027 rolls around. Fallah Bah is going to be ready to wrestle as Yokozuna. Bless Fallah Bah. Lovely man. Yeah, Shawn Michaels is like, now's a good time to get those knees replaced, huh? Billy Gunn thinking, how can I get out of this AEW deal? Calling up Road Dogg right now. Hey, Brian, you got one more in you, buddy? Let's. Okay, you do. Okay, you better call somebody. Yeah, that's the joke. Click. Wait and see. Just wait and see. And then remember this September 15th, 2025 podcast as each one of these things happens and unfolds. Luis, take down the timestamp right now. Take it down right now. And we will come back in a year and a half and we will see how many of these things comes true. And listen, more power to him for making that money. But I see it from a mile away. TKS says, before Raw, the updated countdown has a clip of Dakota Kai hitting the GTK in it. Stands out since nobody else released is highlighted in control of a move. Mistake by Netflix or something to this. Just really pointing it out, but it's nice, but seems odd. She is still very much a free agent. I would expect to see her do some stuff in Japan, to be honest with you. I think that that's something that would really end up benefiting her. But they've never updated it, says Luis. Oh my gosh, Kyrie, Stephanie Vecchio backstage with Asuka, and Asuka's like, tonight you're gonna face Kyrie, and Kyrie's like shadow boxing. She's straight up like, bam, bam, bam. Kyrie is amazing. Sorry, I hit myself in the face with my microphone. She is phenomenal. Misfit Wrestling Podcast says her acting chops in this storyline is phenomenal television. She is so entertaining. So entertaining. We then get Stephanie Vecchio and Kyrie. And buddy, let me tell you, I love a good old Kyrie Sane spinning back fist. It is a filthy, dirty, disgusting move. Just an incredible job. Just love seeing her in action. But this was hey, Stephanie, you haven't wrestled much. Let's make sure we got the rust off. She did that great knees to the apron. There was the big slap to her as well. But you got the dive onto Kyrie and Asuka outside. Devil's Kiss, which has been a big move. And the SVB ends up winning it. I think Stephanie ends up walking away as champion here. I think Kyrie, Asuka end up costing Io the title. And I think that's probably the natural way to go about this. And Stephanie is clearly the woman that they want to push forward as a world champion. And Misfit says, I think Asuka is going to cost Io the title, as do I. And I hope that at least brings some sort of moral conflict in for Kyrie, because she seems like she has had issues with this as it has all happened. We also have Rhea and Steph backstage. Rhea says, no matter which one of you ends up being champion, I'm coming for you. This is kind of a little more wooden. They haven't had a lot creatively for Rhea Ripley of late. Rhea Ripley's been in a holding pattern. She's just been lurking around. She's been booked for the shows to just walk up and smile at people or save people. And I'm like, we can't just have can't have Rhea smash Maxine in like a minute or something. Like, she hasn't been doing anything. Like, have Rhea crush a local talent. Sometimes I just want to see people do their cool moves. But they're probably going to lean into Stephanie, Rhea in Australia, I would imagine, right? That's where we all think this direction is going. I think so. I think so. Io tried to calm things down. It did not work, by the way. Did not work. JT says, Kyrie's acting is so good. She needs a hug. She's phenomenal. Rhea and Io against the Kabukis in Perth. That could also be good. Rhea getting a big match in Perth is ideal. I think you got to put something like Grayson Waller in there too, right? That's ideal. Well, before that, we have this weekend's WrestlePalooza. And listen, I know a lot of you right now, quite frankly, don't have ESPN Unlimited. And there's going to be a whole lot of you that learn this weekend that, oh, this is not on regular ESPN. I got to get a whole new $30 subscription for it. You don't. In fact, you can get a subscription for less than $3 that helps take care of that. And that's nordvpn.com/Fightful. Because if you watched Raw tonight, you almost certainly have Netflix. So you get nordvpn.com/Fightful. You pay for 2 years plus an extra 4 months up front. 30-day money back guarantee. Look at this. People already telling you. Then you change your virtual location to Canada, UK, whatever. Log into your Netflix. They're so chill about it. You got access to WrestlePalooza this weekend. Also, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, all that stuff. Get ready to learn nordvpn.com/Fightful, buddy. You need it. You need this. Beyond the incredible incredible things that are on other tiers. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows all this stuff, and keep yourself safe on public Wi-Fi. Look at that. Get ready to learn it, buddy. You got a wealth of different options. It works on all your devices, works on all your operating systems. So it doesn't matter. Like Firefox, Safari, Chrome, anything. You can put it on smart TVs even. NordVPN.com/Fightful. I'm going to hammer this home this week. All you need is Netflix and NordVPN.com/Fightful. Get over there. Check it out. Will says this version of Asuka pops me. She's been great. She has been phenomenal. She's just been excellent. And I think that Kyrie has to be given a ton of credit as well, which, we did give her credit, but like she has to be commended. Like Io is like has to act like third or fourth most in this angle, and that's good. She's had the spotlight a lot this year, so it's pretty nice to be able to have Asuka and Kyrie get that time to shine. Meet Normus says, you should see my old man's back fist when I sing, Daddy, would you like some sausage? Burrow injury sucks. Bad week for quarterbacks. Listen, the Bengals do have a chance against the Vikings next week. Backup quarterback, usually a bad thing for the Bengals to play against. And Aaron Jones is out. I will be at the Denver Broncos Bengals game in 2 weeks, so I will not be here. Grand Pooh Bear will be filling in along with another host. But if you guys didn't check it out, our Freddie Got Fingered review. The old record for a Freddie Got Fingered review was 2 hours and 28 minutes. We went 3 hours and 37 minutes. And I made a number of appearances. Judgment Day has a party for Dominic, but then they're not too thrilled that he's working with El Grande Americano. And Dominic says, is it crazy to just think he wants to learn from the greatest luchador of all time and the greatest Mysterio? And Finn's like, yes, that is impossible to believe. Don't ask us for help when you need it, lucha legend. Dominic's like, damn. KE775 says, when the Finn-Dom split happens, who do you think Roxanne Raquel will side with over under Survivor Series for the split? I think the split happens upon Liv Morgan returning. And Joseph Morris says, sorry, but Judgment Day needs Liv badly. I mean, listen, I think this story needs Liv badly. I think that is important. But I think that when Liv comes back, she is a bit of a babyface. And I think that that's the important element of this, is that Dom has not been doing like anything wrong. He's been trying to make sure it's stuff that like that she would want, right? And I think that that is important to this story because it shows some growth from him. And I think that that's very important here. And I think that that helps, like, it's the catalyst for the babyface turn is his growth. And I think that everybody else sides with Finn, JD, Raquel, Roxanne all end up together, is what I think. That's what I expect there. What are your thoughts on Kyrie turning heel, man? Really want her to remain face. She's hilarious. That's the thing. Like, she is very like sympathetic and empathetic, maybe. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the word that I'm trying to use. It is one of those where Kyrie she's a heel, but she is an entertaining heel. And people like her and they want to like her. And maybe they'll use that as a thing where where she has to do something dastardly to sort of reinforce that she is a heel. Because I kind of like her being stuck in the middle right now. She's not keen on it. right now. She's not keen on all that's going on. By the way, Rusev shows up and says, "I am the next Intercontinental Champion," and the crowd was very happy. We're finally seeing some progression on Rusev. Oh man, the main event segment. So, LA Knight confronted Jey Uso before Adam Pearce pulled them into his office. They got into it in the parking lot and all that. This is from last week. And LA Knight wants to face Braun and Bronson. He's still heavy on I want to fight both of them, right? And Adam Pearce goes, "Well, you need a partner. Pick one or I'll find one." And LA Knight's like, "All right, I got one, Jimmy Uso." And Jay is like very adamant, like, "No, hell no." Yes, Demon Diva says Rusev offered a handshake and Dom said, "My hands are full." Dom is both subtly and not subtly hilarious. He is so entertaining. And yes, babyface Dom will be like babyface Eddie. He can straight up steal the gimmick and it works for him. But Jay is trying to control his brother Jimmy and he's telling him what to do. But LA Knight gets to him first and he's like, "Hey man, let's team together." And Jimmy's like, "I can't do that to my brother." And then Jay tells him, no, you're not doing this. And Jimmy's like, "I don't see an Ulafala there. You're not telling me what to do. Like now, I am going to go do it." And by the way, who were you talking to on the phone just now? And Jay wouldn't tell him. So I'm sure that didn't make him happy. So we also get the Braun Bronson promo. And then Braun Bronson ends up beating Jimmy and LA Knight. And Braun Breaker is lunatic when that bell rings, man. That dude is nuts. He has no regard, which I'm pretty sure, like, if he hits the ground, nothing's going to break. Nothing's going to sprain. It's just like it'll hurt the ground worse than it hurts him. That dude has no regard for his body. He just throws his entire body in the general direction of another human being. And it's like, something's going to hit, buddy. The interference streak is over. The DQ streak is over. We get a clean finish. Braun Bronson wins. I'm so happy about this. I'm ecstatic about this. And that's the only amount of time I'm going to spend putting this over because it shouldn't be so rare that this happens. Afterwards, Jey Uso made the save, then ate the BFT from Knight. I like this because he caught LA with the chair, and he's like, And then LA's like, "I'll just hit you with the BFT anyway, buddy." The real question, is it Braun Bronson or Braun Bronson? Well, it's neither. Because you don't spell Braun, Braun. It's just Bronson. Braun Bronson? Damn. It's a good thing that Braun Strowman ain't here anymore. Damn, bro. Just Run in LA says, loved and watched the Freddie Got Fingered review. Can Alex and Kate review Friday, next Friday, and Friday after next? I think they're all very good movies. I think they are the reason why the Friday series is so good is because all of them are so different. Like Friday as a standalone film is such a classic. Next Friday is such a perfect example of a 2000s sequel, right? Like a lot of stuff like that where they don't play the hits necessarily, but they've got a lot of familiar faces and they got a lot of new gags and stuff like that. All and heavy new characters. Friday After Next is just a fun, great Christmas movie in a different setting. Love that. Joseph Morris says, I also feel Triple H is a coward for not having Liv return in a non-wrestling role for the time being. I think she could be valuable there, but I feel like when she comes back, she is going to be going after Roxanne Perez. I think Roxanne is finally going to put the moves on. Yeah. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We have interviews with Hobbs that went up last week. We got Mark Briscoe, got a whole bunch of other stuff. Please check out our shorts tab. A lot of stuff over there. I am on Facebook a lot, debunking news. It's a good time. It's a good time. I post a lot of stuff, a lot of memes over there too. So check that out as well. Of course, Joel Pearl is here. Check out In the Weeds every morning on Fightful Overbooked. But please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We'll have additional shows all weekend. We got a bunch of scoops. Had a Raw Scoops thread today. Follow Fightful Espanol on all platforms. And we are on podcast platforms everywhere. We have finally joined Blue Wire Podcasts. I want to thank them so much. We're on the same platform as Chris Van Vliet and Denise Salcedo. Very excited about that. Guys, join me Wednesday. Denise will be back on the show for the hump. We're out.